Pete, I want to get into some comments. You got the comments queued up from Mario here with that interview with McElroy. See if you can find those, because there was I'll send you a clip here. So yesterday, Mario Cristobal went on ESPN with Greg McElroy, went on his podcast, a good podcast. McElroy, I thought, did a good job, asked some good questions. He knew what he was talking about when it came to the Canes. And it was a pretty interesting conversation, pretty candid conversation. Talked about Beck, how, they think he fits the offense. How about, he didn't really have very good protection running game last year. Mario's pretty open, or McElroy said it. Mario just kind of agreed with him that
he said he agreed with. He said that he the way he stated it was exactly what they think, pretty much.
Yeah, Mario's not going to be taking shots at Georgia or anything. I think he's pretty good relationship with Kirby Smart. They're both at Alabama together, so he's not. That's not going to be what he's talking about. But it was very interesting to hear him say that they had the same evaluation as McElroy, and they think that the running game, the offensive line, being a more quarterback-friendly system, Shannon Dawson versus Bobo, is going to help. He didn't say all these things. These are things that the McElroy said, and he didn't push back on. Let's say, Pete, I just sent you the link in the comments. So that was interesting. But then when it came to the defense, I thought Mario was extremely candid as to what happened last year on D. So, Pete, why don't you go ahead and cue up that clip so we can hear Mario Cristobal talking about the difference between maybe this defense with Heatherman and what went wrong last year with Coach Guidry.
Coach Heatherman's defense really fits what we have recruited here at the University of Miami. We recruited to be built as a 4-down operation. Guys that can really get upfield, be disruptive. And, last year we morphed into an operation that was unrecognizable. We were doing, again, we're past that now. We're moving forward, but this really fits our guys. Ruben Bain is a really disruptive, explosive player. So is Akeem Mesidor. So is, Armando Blunt. So is a guy like, Malik Bryant, Hayden Lowe, Booker Pickett. There's a lot of guys that are really good. And then inside, Ahmad Moten, the pickup of David Blade. Justin Scott's been phenomenal. Dante Simpson is a young guy that's really coming on strong. There's a lot of explosive players that maybe were out of position last year playing, in some, I guess some of those movements and stunts just didn't fit what we had. And it was confusing for our linebackers and our back end to be on the same page, which really caused just some monster big chunk plays against us that really hurt us. So Corey Heatherman is really smart. He's tough. He's got a ton of energy. He's got answers to his defense. Communication's at a premium, and he leads the charge. He coaches it from the front to the back, and he's been awesome to be around, and we expect some significant improvement on that side of the ball.
It just feels like this move is kind of, all right, less is more. Let our dudes be dudes. Is that a fair assessment of what this defense might look like?
I think it's from the inside out, but not from the outside as it relates to opponents seeing what we do. I think just the way that the terminology and communication that go with it allow us to play really, really fast. So in essence, it's digested in a more simple manner. In terms of the look itself, I think you'll see some base stuff, but you'll see some exotic stuff as well, without confusing our players.
That's pretty candid there from Mario, man. I think he's probably let out more than he wanted and then pull it back. Mario's not like a Lane Kiffin that wants to be taking shots at coaches and stuff. That's really not his style. So I think when he said that the defense looked unrecognizable last year, he kind of pulled it back and said we're moving on. But everything I know is that's basically the internal feeling is the stunts, the movement. And I talked to a high-ranking personnel guy with one of the best teams in the NFL, and he said, yeah, man, I have no idea what Miami was doing on defense, all those stunts, movement, all that. And this was before Guidry got fired. This was during the season. So that's something that I think a lot of people have questioned. And look, the question I've seen in the chat, people are asking, hey, you hired this guy, meaning Cristobal hired Guidry, so you knew what you were getting. And that's fair. I mean, look, the head coach takes responsibility for what the assistants do, right? Especially when it's their guys. I mean, he hired them. So it's not like a passing a blame, but it's just kind of, hey, we hired this guy. We had some success the first year. And then last year, we just got away and things went in a direction that we didn't anticipate. And they moved on quick. But I think it's the right adjustment going to a Heatherman and somebody who it's simple in terms of where you line up, your assignments, but it's very detailed in terms of technique. It's similar to Manny in that way, except I think more of an emphasis on physicality, more of an emphasis of technique, less just kind of getting around guys just to get around guys, more going through guys or angling guys, edging guys, just getting in the right technique to physically execute your task, but not having to worry about moving around, all these different shifts. So the very difficult communication. Communication was terrible last year. That's a huge emphasis of Corey Heatherman. So what Mauro said there is what I've heard internally. And I think what we've seen, whether it can get done, who knows? I mean, again, we felt good about Guidry when he got hired. We felt good about Guidry after the first year. We were worried about losing to LSU. So it's not always, hey, just fire the coach and everything is great. But at the same time, we've seen Manny replace D'Onofrio, and our defense goes from the hundreds to the tens in all the major defensive categories instantly. I mean, year to year. We saw Dawson replace Gaddis, and we saw an incredible increase year over year, and then a giant jump this past year with Cam Ward. We saw Rhett Lashley replace Dan Enos, and again, immediate difference in the offensive production. So we've seen these things happen kind of year to year. Will that happen this year? There's no guarantee of that. But I think what Mario's saying there was a pretty candid assessment of where he thinks this defensive front and this defense as a whole went wrong.
Man, what I took from it was the first name he mentioned on defensive tackle was Ahmad Moten, and then he also threw Simpson's name in there as well as the fourth name at D tackle. And we've kind of been saying, watch out for him as that fourth D tackle. I think that right now I would think he's just above Artavius Jones in that room right now.
Yeah, we'll see a battle there. We'll see defensive ends play D tackle as well. But just on Dante Simpson, P, I'm a big believer. Look, practice is practice. It doesn't always translate to the games. I think when you consistently do it in practice, like Restrepo, Horton last year, Arroyo, it does translate to games, but not always. But I'm a huge believer when it comes to like young players and first impressions. When you see a freshman and they look good right away, like not even in full pads, and you're like, wow, who's that guy? To me, that usually translates. I think of David Njoku, who redshirted and ended up being an NFL player, first rounder, Pro Bowl type player. I remember his first practice as a 3-star. I came on CanesInSight and I said, this guy's a guy. Alan Hearns, I remember that as well. His first practice came on CanesInSight. I said, hey, Alan Hearns, right?